Dr. Madhukar, Mr. Gajanan, and Dr. Ganesh Acharya. I think Bindu Mishra has not yet joined, so we shall start with Dr. Madhukar. Shall we start with you, sir?
Yes, ma'am, no problem.
Okay, let a few instructions to all the presenters. This whole this whole session will be recorded and it will be forwarded as such to the people who are going to evaluate the presentations. And you are given 10 plus 2 minutes, and we will have a nice discussion and interaction if all the participants willingly can interact with the presenter. We will give time after the presentation, so when you are asked to interact, you can kindly unmute yourself and then you can pose your queries to the presenter. Okay. So now we are going to begin with Dr. Madhukar A. Badgujar. Sir,
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So can you see the screen?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. So good morning to everyone. So I would like to start here my presentation. The title of my presentation, my research article is Spectrophotometric Simultaneous Determination of Fluoroxazone and Diclofenac Sodium in Tablet. You can see here the abstract of my research article. The aim of the study to describe a simple, precise, sensitive, rapid, accurate, and economical simultaneous equation method for the determination of fluoroxazone and diclofenac sodium in tablet dosage form. The method involves solving the simultaneous equation based on the measurement of absorbance at two wavelengths, 244 nanometer and 280 nanometer. Once the method has been developed, then that method has to be validated for linearity, accuracy, and precision. These are the validation parameters. In this research paper, the linearity was obtained in the concentration range 5 to 20 microgram per ml for chlorzoxazone and 1 to 4 microgram per ml for diclofenac sodium. The percentage recovery was around 98 to 101 for chlorzoxazone and 98 to 100 for diclofenac sodium. Indicates that the method is accurate and precise for simultaneous estimation of chlorzoxazone and diclofenac sodium in tablet dosage form. Now, the introduction of the research article. In this research paper, I have used the two drugs, chlorzoxazone and diclofenac. So, used as a painkiller. It is a centrally acting agent for painful musculoskeletal conditions. Diclofenac sodium, it is also having the anti-inflammatory property. Analytical techniques are available. Mine, includes spectrophotometry, UV spectrophotometry, HPLC, high performance liquid chromatography, HPTLC. So these methods were reported for the analysis of chlorzoxazone and diclofenac sodium in pharmaceuticals. But the method which was developed by me, it is a very good method, very rapid method, very economical method. So that's why I would like to present this research paper. So the aim of the present work was to develop simple, economical, rapid and precise and accurate method for simultaneous determination of these two analytes. So these are the structures of these two analytes. First one, it is belongs to chlorzoxazone, and second one, it is belongs to the diclofenac sodium. So one is having the ketone as a functional group, and other is having the carboxylic as a functional group. Now I would like to discuss here the method in brief. The present work describes an UV method for the quantitative simultaneous determination of chlorzoxazone and diclofenac sodium in pharmaceutical preparations. Chlorzoxazone and diclofenac sodium absorb the radiation in the UV region. The proposed UV method is based on the measurement of absorbed UV radiations by both the analytes. Both the analytes has absorbed the UV light. Okay, so the method which is developed here, it is based on the absorption of UV radiation, that is from 200 nanometer to 400 nanometer wavelength. Okay, the UV light that is having the range from 200 nanometer to 400 nanometer. So particularly in this region, the absorption has been takes place. The absorbance measurement was carried out at the lambda max of chlorzoxazone. Lambda max, it is the maximum wavelength of the analyte. Means at this wavelength, the analyte, that is chlorzoxazone, shows maximum absorbance. For diclofenac sodium, also I find out the lambda max value. So for chlorzoxazone, the lambda max value, it is 244 nanometer. I got the maximum absorbance at 244 nanometer wavelength for chlorzoxazone, and for diclofenac sodium, it is at 280 nanometer. So these two wavelengths are different. There is a variation in the wavelength. The chlorzoxazone shows at 244 nanometer. That is the lambda max value for this analyte, for this drug. And for diclofenac sodium, it is 200 nanometer. Now, according to this, the molar absorptivities of both the analytes were found out. With the help of the lambda max values, the molar absorptivities of both the analytes can be found out. Okay, and using the molar absorptivities, values of both the analytes, then the simultaneous equation was constructed. So this is important one here. Okay, the simultaneous equation was constructed, and on the basis of that simultaneous equation, the concentration of the analytes was determined. The amount of the analytes was determined. Okay, so the proposed UV method was subjected to statistical validation to determine the accuracy, precision, intermediate precision, specificity, that is the validation parameter. So once the method has been developed, later on it is validated for its intended purpose. Okay, so how the solution was prepared, that is given here. Preparation of the standard drug solution and preparation of sample solution. So generally I use here the 100 ppm solution for chlorzoxazone and 20 ppm solution for diclofenac sodium. It is a mixed standard solution. Okay, I have taken 50 milligram of chlorzoxazone and 10 milligram of diclofenac sodium. Okay, and later on it is mixed up, dissolved in methanol. Later on it is diluted, and finally I got the solution. The concentration of that solution, it is 100 ppm for chlorzoxazone and 20 ppm for diclofenac sodium. Similarly, the preparation of the sample solution, that is the 20 tablets, the weight can be taken, then average weight was calculated. Okay, later on the weight belongs to one tablet has been taken here, it is powdered, and later on that should be dissolved in methanol, and it is diluted. Later on it is filtered. Okay, and the final solution, I got here the concentration of the solution. It is 100 ppm for chlorzoxazone and 20 ppm for diclofenac sodium. So this is the sample solution. So in this case, both the standard solution and sample solution have both the same concentration. 100 ppm, it is very low concentration. Okay, but for UV method, I use here the low concentration. Okay, so you can see in the next slide. Now, once the solution has been prepared, later on the optimization of the experimental conditions. So in this experiment, in this method, I use the lambda 25 UV visible spectrophotometer, which has the range 190 nanometer to 1100 nanometer bandwidth. Okay, so I select here the methanol as a solvent. Why methanol has selected as a solvent? Because it has given a maximum E1% values. Okay, so the concentration of the solution can be utilized here, that is 12.5 milligram. So it is very low concentration. Even though at very low concentration, the UV has given the response. Okay, so similarly for diclofenac sodium, the low concentration is here. It is around 2.5 ppm, 2.5 microgram per ml. Okay, so the two analyte solution has been prepared in the methanol. Why methanol? Because it has been given maximum E1% value. Therefore, methanol is selected as a solvent. Okay. Now, I have performed the spectral analysis, spectral characteristics. Okay, so you can see here the spectra of chlorzoxazone from the wavelength 200 to 400 nanometer. So it shows here lambda max value. So it is around the lambda max of the chlorzoxazone. It is equal to 244 nanometer here, and for diclofenac sodium, it is around 200 nanometer here. So these two wavelengths has been selected for the study. Okay, so this is the lambda max value, and once the lambda max value has been found out, the next part later on the method development. So simultaneous equation method. So molar absorptivity of chlorzoxazone and diclofenac sodium can be determined. Okay, so you can see this table here. AX1, it is the molar absorptivity at the lambda max 244 nanometer, and AX2, it is the molar absorptivity as the lambda max 200 nanometer. So the mean molar absorptivity values are 0.0962 for chlorzoxazone at 244 nanometer and 0.0208 nanometer for wavelength 280 nanometer. And the concentration range here 5 to 20 microgram per ml. Okay, so from 5, then 6, then 7.5 like that. So up to 20, I have taken the readings. I have taken the absorbance of the solutions, and I got here the molar absorptivity values for both the analytes at the particular wavelength, at the lambda max wavelength. So for the diclofenac sodium, it is AY1 and AY2. So with the help of these molar absorptivity values, the simultaneous equation can be constructed, and the concentration of the analytes can be determined with the help of the this equation. So Cx, it is equal to A2 AY1 minus A1 AY2 divided by AX2 into AY1 minus AX1 into AY2. Okay, so I have substituted here the values, that is AY1, it is 0.0189, similarly AY2, it is 0.0490. So the simultaneous, with the help of the simultaneous equation, the concentration of the analytes can be determined, Cx and Cy. Cx, it is for chlorzoxazone, and Cy, it is for the diclofenac sodium. So with the help of this equation, the amount of the chlorzoxazone and amount of the diclofenac sodium can be determined. So for that purpose, first of all, I find out the molar absorptivity values at the particular lambda max values. Okay, so in this way the method has been developed. Once the method has been developed, then it is validated for its parameter. So these are the parameters which are given here: specificity, linearity, sensitivity, precision, accuracy, ruggedness. Okay. So in this case, it is important that once the method has been developed, then we have to validate that method. So these are the parameters which are given here. So let us see the first parameter, specificity. So this is the data is given here by comparing the absorbance values of mixed standard solution and the sample solution. So you can see here the data. the absorbance values of a mixed standard solution and mixed sample solution, there is no so much variation here. Okay, absorbance values are not so much vary from each other, so it indicates that the method it is specific. Same it is in the case of the diclofenac sodium. Okay. Then the second validation parameter, it is linearity. Linearity of the method was tested from the concentration from 40% to 160% here of the targeted level of the assay concentration, and the 100% concentration, it is 100% level have the concentration, it is 12.5 for chlorzoxazone and 2.5 for diclofenac sodium for the two analytes. So you can see these are the two plots here, two graphs here. So there is a linear relationship between the absorbance and the concentration of the solution. So I think there is a very good correlation between the absorbance and the concentration. As the concentration will be increases, the absorbance it is increases. And the correlation coefficient value, you can see here, the correlation coefficient value, it is 0.99. So it means that the results are very good. There is a very good correlation between the concentration of the, analyte and the absorbance values. Same for in the case of the diclofenac sodium. Okay, so this is the linearity plot. Very good correlation is there. Then the third validation parameter, it is sensitivity. In this case, the very low concentration I have taken, even though I got the response. The molar absorptivity values are very good here. It is around 1.342 into 10 to 4, and the Sandel sensitivity, it is very low. So at this low concentration, the response I got there. Okay, so for both the analytes, the sensitivity, it means that the method is very sensitive, even though at low concentration, the absorbance values can be obtained there. So it indicates that the method is very sensitive. High value of the molar absorptivity and low value of the Sandel sensitivity indicates that the method is very sensitive. Then precision. The method precision study was performed to determine the reproducibility of the method. So number of observations I have taken here. So the same reading I got here, and there is not so much variation of the concentration of the analytes. Okay, so there is not so much difference between the true concentration of the analyte and the obtained concentration of the analyte or experimental values of the analyte. You can see here, true concentration it is 12.5 for chlorzoxazone, it is around 12.49, that is the obtained value. Okay, and there is not so much variation for number of the observations here. Okay, so even though by doing the replicate analysis, replicate measurements, the results are same, there is no change in the results. So it means that the method is precise. And also there is a standard deviation becomes very, very less here. You can see the standard deviation. Okay, you can see here the percentage relative standard deviation, these values are very, very low, indicates that the method, it is a precise method. Then the accuracy or percentage recovery, so accuracy can be determined by standard addition method. So the table shows that the original amount, it is 12.5 here for chlorzoxazone. The amount added here is 0. Okay, so total amount it is 12.5. 5 replicate measurements are done here. So the result shows 12.48. So not so much variation is there. So it indicates that the method is accurate and there is a 99.84% recovery. So recovery is also very good here. So whatever the amount of the analyte which is added into the solution, that can be recovered there, and 100%, around 100% recovery is there. And there is not so much variation in the RSD value. So it indicates that the method is very, very accurate. So it is applicable for both the analytes, chlorzoxazone and diclofenac sodium. So this table shows that the method is very, very accurate. Whatever the true values are given here, the obtained values are also same, and percentage recovery, it is also very good here. It is around 99 to 101%. Okay, so the method is very accurate. Later on, I performed the ruggedness study. Okay, in the ruggedness study, actually by changing the environment, by changing the instrument, the results are not so much vary. by changing the lab also, the results are not so much vary. Okay, so you can see here the RSD value, it is very low. It indicates that the method is very rugged. Even though the environment is changed, the lab is changed, even though we perform the analysis on the second day, third day, there is not so much variation in the results are there. So indicates that the method is the rugged method. Okay. So conclusion, the last point I would like to discuss here, the spectrophotometric UV method is a very simple method. Why it is a simple method? Because only we require the sophisticated instrument here, UV spectrophotometer, but the methanol, it is very low cost, the time it is very less. Okay, so the method is very simple. It is specific method, it is sensitive method. Okay, it is precise method, economical method, very low cost solvent, that is methanol, is required here. So it is a economical method, it is an accurate method. So this method can be applicable for simultaneous determination of these two drugs, chlorzoxazone and diclofenac sodium, in tablet dosage form. So the proposed method gives a very good result for these analytes. So I would like to say that this method can be implemented to determine the concentration of the drugs which are present in the analytes. Okay, and also the high percentage of recovery shows that the method is very accurate. So in all the sense, the method is very good, very simple, economical, suitable for the simultaneous determination of the analytes. Okay, so these are the references I have used to develop the method. So thanks to all, you listen very silently my paper presentation. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. It was a nice presentation. Sir C.V. Raman himself had done a very simple work but a quality work. So I think this simple method has added some value to drug estimations, especially diclofenac and the other one. So now the session, yes sir. Now the session is open for discussion. Does anyone have any doubts, clarifications? You can interact. Kindly unmute yourself. So there's a usual notion that you can use UV spectrophotometer only for colored solutions, but this is not colored, it is white in color. So did you filter it, sir, before performing the experiment? You dissolved it and filtered it, or was everything soluble in methanol?
For a standard drug, not necessary to filter because they are easily soluble in the solvent. But in a tablet, other contents are there, placebo is there.
Yes, sir.
So I have to filter the solution with the help of the Whatman filter 1 or 41.
Okay, sir.
Because it contains other ingredients in the tablet. Okay. So in the tablet, not only the pure drugs are present, but other ingredients are also there.
Yes, sir. Fillers are present. Yes, sir.
Fillers are there. So it is necessary to filter the solution.
Okay. Nice presentation, sir. And I think yesterday one of our student, Arpita, had done some work on citric acid, vitamin C estimation. Maybe that can also be done through this by method validation.
Yeah, that can be done, ma'am.
Yeah, I think
it can also be done.
It can be done.
Just we have to find out the lambda max value of the vitamin C.
Yes.
At what wavelength it shows maximum absorbance.
Yeah.
And then latter part is so simple. Anyone can do, but it requires a sophisticated instrument, UV visible spectrophotometer.
Yes,
actually, it is not available in our rural colleges. So for that purpose, I use the facility of the Mithibhai College, Mumbai. Okay. The UV spectrophotometer is available there.
Which one? What's the specifications of the instrument you use, sir?
Lambda UV spectrophotometer. It is having the range 190 to 1100 nanometer. It can be used for UV or it can be used for visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, that's true. I just thought
but particularly
make of the instrument.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Okay,
Are
ma'am.
there
Thank
any
you.
other people who would like to interact, or shall I give the, shall I ask the next presenter?
If anyone wants to ask some question regarding to this, then they can ask now.
I think they are satisfied with your presentation, sir. Now we shall move on to the next presenter. Thank you, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Mr. Gajanan Rawate. Mr. Gajanan Rawate. I can see sir here. Sir, kindly unmute yourself. Gajanan sir. Okay. There must be some problem with Gajanan sir. Sir, Ganesh sir, can we have your presentation now? Ganesh sir.
Madam, one request I would like to make.
Yes, sir.
After the presentation, can you send particularly the recorded presentation to us?
Sure, sir. You should give me a little time, sir. I will share the link
Okay.
from the Google Drive.
Okay.
After this, after we have the valedictory session, I'll be free. That time I will do this work, sir.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
But for sure, we will share it with you.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Ganesh, sir, can we have your presentation, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir.
Hello, madam.
Hello.
Hello, madam.
Hello, Gajanan, sir.
Hello, madam.
हाँ sir, we can hear you, sir.
I will join, madam.
You want to give the presentation now, sir?
Yes, madam.
Just a minute, sir. Ganesh, sir, shall we allow Gajanan, sir, and then take up?
No problem. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. Gajanan, sir, kindly go ahead with your presentation. Hello, Gajanan, sir. Yes.
Hello, madam. There should be some problem in sharing.
No, it is visible, sir. Your slides are visible.
Madam,
Yes, sir. We
can I start, madam?
Sure, sir. You can. You can. You can press that full screen button.
GD Raute, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, Sri R.R. Lahoti Science College, Morshi, Maharashtra. Today I am presenting a research paper on title pH metric determination of stability constant and free energy change delta G of Ag first with paracetamol at 308 degree Kelvin. This is the title of my research paper. Now abstract of this presentation. Complex formation reaction between silver ion Ag first and paracetamol were evaluated by pH metric method at 308 degree Kelvin. Ionic strength was maintained constant 0.01 molar by adding required quantity of potassium nitrate. The stability constant and thermodynamic parameters
Sir, you are not audible.
I think Gajanan sir has some network issue problems. We'll just wait for 1 minute. Let us see if he gets back. Hello, Gajanan sir, can you hear me?
No, ma'am. I think he is not connected at present.
Yeah. Uh, okay, Ganesh sir, I think we'll finish off with you first.
He has left the meeting, Gajanan sir. So I think he is having the problem.
He is having network problem. Ganesh sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry sir, sorry.
It's
I
okay.
think
I think we can wait for few minutes so that he may rejoin again, so that he can complete. I think he's on the way for completion of his presentation.
okay sir, as you say, because
Is it
again
okay,
it's
madam?
not good. Yeah, it's good sir, because we were hosting college, so I thought we will allow him.
No. We will allow him so
Yeah.
that he can. We will wait for a few minutes.
Okay
Let
sir.
us see what happens, and after that, let us see.
Yes sir, yes.
Ma'am, can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes sir, Madhukar sir.
Now he is not till join.
Yeah. I think we should
So I will,
proceed. Yes sir.
okay, we should proceed now.
Yes sir.
Madam,
Yes sir.
Gajanan sir joined again.
Again join. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, Gajanan sir has joined again, so I think he may proceed. Hello,
Hello, sir.
Now.
Gajanan sir has joined actually.
He has joined actually. Gajanan.
Sir, I think we will proceed with yours. We'll complete yours and then we will give sir the occasion because many people are waiting and it's already 11:40. You finish yours, sir. Then we will give sir his chance. Ganesh, sir. Ganesh, sir,
Is it?
your slide is visible. You can
Yeah,
make it full screen and then you can start, sir.
yeah. There is some problem in making full screen.
Okay,
Just a
sir,
minute.
that's okay. You can continue like that only if there is problems.
Is it okay, madam, now?
Yeah, it's
Titration
okay.
with NaOH solution. Second state,
At the
free
bottom,
acid 0.01 molar and 0.05 molar paracetamol solution titrated
Madam.
with NaOH solution. Third C,
madam.
free acid 0.01.
Gajanan sir has started, I think.
I think he is on and he does not know that he
He
is
is on, he is on.
disconnected. Gajanan sir? Gajanan sir, can you hear us?
Yes, madam.
Sir, you are not visible at all and audible until now. We will restart your session,
Hello,
sir.
madam.
Gajanan
Result
sir.
and discussion.
Sir, some noise is coming from your side.
Experiment involves the titration of 3 plates.
Your voice is not also clear, sir. You have to come in the range connectivity.
Gajanan sir, can you hear me? There is a severe problem with Gajanan sir's connectivity and he does not know that he is disconnected.
Yeah, that is also.
And sir is already in resultant discussion.
Ganesh sir has to continue now.
Yeah. I will call sir and I will complete it. Ganesh sir, kindly you carry on. I will call Gajanan sir and I'll fix that problem, sir. You continue. Ganesh sir, you there?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
You continue, sir. I will call Gajanan sir and I will fix that problem.
Is it visible, madam?
No, sir.
Now it is.
Yes, sir. Visible. No problem.
Is it visible?
Yeah,
Yes,
perfect.
visible.
Okay, sir.
Am I audible to all of you?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Myself, Dr. Ganesh Acharya, Assistant Professor, Department of Chemistry, IDST Government College, Chikmagaluru. Today, I'm going to present a small piece of work on my research. That is, the topic of my work is on one-pot synthesis and characterization of nickel graphene oxide nanocomposites for the electrochemical degradation of a toxic textile dye on this international e-conference on advances in chemical science, health and education organized by our college. And my presentation outline is as follows. It includes introduction, methodology, results and discussion, conclusion and references. In the introduction part, I would like to mention few things about what are nanocomposites and what are metal graphene oxide nanocomposites and what are their importances and what are different methods of preparation of these composites. Nanocomposites are the materials that incorporate nano-sized particles into a matrix of standard material like maybe metal or polymer, etc. The results of the addition of nanoparticle is a drastic improvement in the properties of the material, that is nanocomposite, which includes mechanical strength, toughness, electrical and thermal conductivity. And there are several methods for the preparation of metal nanocomposites or in general nanocomposites. For example, sol gel, oxidation, co-precipitation, hydrothermal, flow injection and so on. And metal carbon composites are receiving increasingly important attention because of wide range of their applications in fuel cell and other industrial applications. And we can mention few applications. For example, the metal graphene composites are used as chemical sensors and supercapacitors, catalysts, and in solar cells, fuel cells, etc. Now here, as there are a few references that are available for the synthesis of graphene metal composites, we are attempted to prepare the metal, that is nickel graphene oxide composite. And there are several toxic textile dyes which causes severe health problems. So we are trying to degrade, or we have tried to remove the toxic textile dye which we have purchased from a textile industry from Molecalmur, and the name of dye is called as B green here. And in the methodology, the first part includes the preparation of graphene oxide, and it is done by Hammer's method, where we have used natural graphene oxide. 2 grams of natural graphite is taken, and it is immersed in 90 ml of sulfuric acid solution, and then it is slowly heated, and by meantime we are added 4 grams of potassium permanganate slowly with continuous stirring, and the temperature is raised to 90 degrees, and then it is diluted to 200 ml by adding distilled water slowly, and then again the temperature is raised to 150 degrees centigrade, and it is heated for 2 hours, and then it is cooled, and then the hydrogen peroxide solution is added. 40% of that is added slowly, so that the graphene oxide compound is obtained, and it is dried on silica gel, and it is used for our experiment. And the next step is synthesis of nickel graphene oxide nanocomposite. Here what we have done is a wet chemical method is used for the preparation. Nickel graphene oxide composite catalyst is prepared in this method by taking 0.1 molar solution of nickel nitrate, and it is mixed with 0.01 gram of trisodium citrate as a capping agent, and the prepared graphene oxide is slowly added of about 0.04 grams, and then the reagents were titrated against 0.1 molar sodium hydroxide solution drop by drop with constant stirring until a green precipitate of nickel oxide is obtained. And this nickel oxide is washed with double distilled water, ethanol, and finally with acetone, and it is repeated in order to remove the capping agent, and the nickel graphene oxide nanocomposites were dried on in the vacuum at 120 degrees centigrade, and a black powder of this is obtained, and it is used for our experiment. And in the instrumental part, we have used the scanning electron microscopic studies for the surface analysis, that is ZC Supra 40 scanning electron microscopic instrument, and EDAX analysis is done by FEI ESEM Quanta. And the next part is UV visible spectrophotometric studies. We have used Systronics 119 for the analysis of the prepared graphene oxide, and also we have used Shimadzu FTIR spectrophotometer for the analysis of the prepared graphene oxide, and XRD analysis is done by Expert Pro instrument. So these are some of the technical aspects for the analysis. And then the last part is application of the prepared graphene oxide nickel composite for the removal of the textile dye. And the method we have adopted is a batch method, where we have prepared 250 ml of the dye solution of ppm concentrations. And the instrument which we have used is this one, that is here we have used an electrochemical method where the electrodes are used here. These are the electrodes which are dipped in the dye solution containing the prepared nanocomposite, and here the electrodes are waste carbon rods which are in the dry cells that are used here, and the graphite carbon electrodes of 4.5 centimeter length and 0.8 centimeter dia are used as anode and cathode for the electrochemical degradation studies. And the supporting electrolytes such as sodium chloride is added to increase the conductivity, and various parameters like the concentration of the prepared nanocomposite and the concentration of the supporting electrolyte and the concentration of and the current density and pH, etc. are varied for the study, and the time of degradation is also studied. And in the results and discussion part, the first part is the characterization of the synthesized graphene oxide. We can see here the U visible spectrum of graphene oxide, that is 220 nanometer, confirms the formation of a single layer graphene oxide, and that is shown here, so which we have obtained for our compound. And we all know that the graphene oxide contains various functional groups containing oxygen. Basically, the OH group having 3430 centimeter inverse, that is shown in our IR spectrum, and 1733 centimeter inverse for carbonyl stretching, and 1226 corresponding to phenolic stretching, etc. that can be visible here in the IR spectrum of the graphene oxide which we have prepared. And the characterization of nickel graphene oxide composite, that includes XRD, SEM and EDAX analysis. Basically, the XRD analysis shown is sharp peak at around 45, that corresponds to 200 plane, which is actually confirms the presence of graphene oxide in the nickel composite that is obtained here. So the diffraction peaks are half-width narrowed, which shows the addition of graphene oxide promotes the formation of nickel atoms nuclei, thus suppresses the growth of the grain, and which gives a sharp intense peak at 200 plane. And the next part is the SEM analysis. Scanning electron microscopic studies shows that there are porous and coarse fine structure that is obtained for the the prepared nickel graphene oxide compound, composite, that shows the incorporation of the graphene oxide into the nickel matrix. And a very important parameter, that is EDAX analysis of our compound, which shows the presence of graphene oxide in the prepared compound by observing the percentage of elements that are present in the prepared compound. For example, here in our compound, the carbon atomic percentage is 42.61 and oxygen is 38.1%. That shows there is graphene oxide present in our compound. And also nickel, that is 3.95, that shows the nickel matrix present in the composite. So these three analyses, that is XRD, SEM and EDAX, that confirms the formation of the composite. And the next part is the application of the prepared nickel graphene oxide composite for the electrochemical degradation of the toxic textile dye named as B green. The dye is purchased from a textile industry, Molakalmur, Karnataka, and the structure of the compound is as shown here, and various parameters, as I told, like pH, current density, duration of electrolysis, and the amount of the prepared composite, etc. are varied. And the first parameter, that is the decoloration efficiency of the dye effluent, was found to be 99.54 at what we have done is we have prepared different concentration of dye solution, and we have added different concentration of supporting electrolyte like sodium chloride, and we have added different concentrations starting from 0 to 0.04 grams per 250 ml of the prepared nano composite, and we have observed the U visible spectrum of the toxic textile dye solution, which we have taken for experiment. And the decrease in the absorbance shows that there is a removal of the textile dye during the electrolysis. At a pH of 8, there was a removal of 99.54%. That shows, the prepared nano composite is a very effective to the removal of the textile dye from the toxic textile dye solution. And the next part is we have varied the current density starting from 0 to 0.06 amps per dm square. At a current density of 0.03 amps per dm square, it is observed that there is 100%, almost 100% removal of the textile dye, as shown in this figure. So therefore, the optimized current density for the removal of textile dye is found to be around 0.03 amps per dm square. And the next part is the addition of supporting electrolyte like sodium chloride, which increases the conductivity of the solution. Here, 0.25 grams of sodium chloride is added to 250 ml of the stock solution, so that higher efficiency of about 99% removal of the textile dye is observed. So the optimized concentration of sodium chloride is found to be 0.25 grams per 250 ml. And the last part in our work, in this part of work, is the effect of nickel graphene oxide nanocomposite. Here in this picture, you can see that we have varied the nickel graphene oxide concentration starting from 0 to 0.06 milligrams, grams per 250 ml, and at a concentration of 0.004 gram per 250 ml of the prepared nanocomposite, we have observed almost 100% removal of the textile dye. So therefore, the optimized concentration of the prepared this nanocomposite is found to be 0.004 grams per 250 ml. So therefore, at all these optimized parameters, particularly in the presence of nickel graphene oxide composite, there is 100% removal of this toxic textile dye from the stock solution. So in conclusion, we can say that we have prepared the graphene oxide nickel composite, and we have utilized it for the complete removal of the toxic hazardous textile dye in a very simple way, just by using electric current and the prepared graphene oxide composite. And it can be used for the electrochemical degradation of B green of about 99.7% removal efficiency by using just 0.004 grams per 250 ml of the stock solution of the textile dye. So therefore, the thing which I want to mention here is the electrodes that are used are waste materials of the dry cell, and the simple apparatus required for the removal of textile dye is a DC power supply. That's all. So removal of hazardous toxic textile dye from a stock solution, or you can also use this for wastewater cleaning. And these are the references that I have used, and thank you for your patience listening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. You have presented to us an eco-friendly method of removing dyes or sensing dyes from the waste. Now the session is open for discussion. Do we have any queries? So have you seen at what level this dye is toxic? How many milligrams is toxic?
No, madam. Actually, we have not studied the toxicity of the material, but in literature it has been shown that it is causing cancer. But we have not studied the carcinogenic property of those dye.
Dyes. It is a blue color dye, is it, sir? Blue.
It is greenish.
Greenish. Do they use it for regular use for dyeing purpose?
Yes, ma'am. It is used for textile dyeing. So we have purchased it from Molkalmur textile industry. You may be knowing our Sudama sir.
Yes, sir.
In his place, actually, there is a textile industry,
okay,
and
sir.
we have got this textile dye from his native industry.
Oh, okay, sir. Thank you so much. It was a nice presentation. If there are no further queries, I can ask Gajanan sir once again. Gajanan sir, can you hear me?
Shall I stop sharing, madam?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Thank you.
Gajanan sir, can you hear me? Gajanan sir? Gajanan sir. Gajanan sir, can you hear me? Hello. Okay, I don't think Gajanan sir can hear me. I've been calling him from a long time, but he's not picking up. So we have to end this session. So we had two presenters today, Dr. Madhukar Bad Gujar sir and Dr. Ganesh Acharya. We were waiting for Bindu Mishra. Is Bindu Mishra there? No. So, okay, I request Gajanan sir to contact me. I request Dr. Gajanan sir to contact me. If he wishes to do his presentation once again tomorrow, we can accommodate him. But as of now, we are officially closing this particular paper presentation session. We had two nice presenters. One presenter, Dr. Madhukar sir, who told about method validation, and another presentation was by Dr. Ganesh Acharya sir, who used nanoparticles for removing dyes. And actually Gajanan sir was supposed to be dealing with pH metric studies, but unfortunately because of his network issues, I think we are unable to connect with him. Dr. Madhukar sir, do you know him? Madhukar sir? Okay. Am I audible? Ganesh sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So we are now going to...
No, ma'am. Yes.
Okay, sir. You don't know him. Okay, fine, sir. No problem. I am trying to contact him.
Now actually Gajanan Ravata has joined again.
He has joined, sir, since a long time. I have been calling him, but I don't think he is able to connect. So we will end this meeting here, sir. It's 12, I think. So tomorrow again we will have presentations. We are left with 3 more presentations. We shall have them tomorrow, beginning from 11. I request all the presenters to join well in advance, kindly, so that we can avoid all these errors. Because many people are using their internet, we do not want to waste their time and energy on this. So we request all the presenters to join tomorrow by 10:50. Gajanan sir, can you hear me?
Yes, madam.
Sir, we have been calling you since a long time. We could not hear your presentation at all.
Okay, madam.
Hello.
Can you do it now, sir? Can you do it now?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Huh?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I think we can give one more chance to him.
Yeah,
so
we are. I'm asking him, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Gajanan sir, kindly go ahead. Gajanan sir. Gajanan sir has left the meeting. There are 2 logins. I don't know from which login sir is using. Sir, we will give him a chance tomorrow. I will contact him. I'll ask him to call me tomorrow, and then we will give him a chance tomorrow. We are going to stop the presentations for today. Shall we, sir? Madhukar sir, shall we?
Yes, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.